Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jenny will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have with me Laura Burkey. Now, Laura, I met out networking and we just sat there and talked. I was like, you have to be on my show because this is too good to not have you presenting this information to my badass crew. So let me tell you a little bit about Laura. Laura has been a thought, behavior, and communication coach since 1996, helping her clients master their ability to create and achieve what they truly want. Her particular specialty is in using the most powerful medium that we all have, which is our words. Laura has keyed in on the subtleties and nuances of the words we are all habituated in using in our internal dialogue and outward dialogue that are the seeds we are planting for the growth or lack thereof of what we get to sow. That is some good stuff right there, Laura, because let me tell you, the power of words, they are huge. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you are here to talk about this because this is something that not a lot of people recognize. And it's one of the first things that I often end up helping my clients with is shifting some of the words they use. How did you end up getting into the world of communication coaching?
Well, so I really did come into this world. This came with me. So it's not, and so I just discovered it and I let it kind of unfold. So as early as a little girl, I liked saying all the big words. I loved to say the big words and that I could actually articulate them. So I'm a total wordy. I'm also a foodie, but I am a wordy. And then just over my whole life, I've been interested in, well, what does that word mean? How do you use it? So I had, a long time in my younger life, just having that interest and fascination. Then my studies in college, I was a double major of psychology and interpersonal communications, which I created I actually created that major for myself because I just love communication and the interaction between people and what that yields. But also I've really grown to what the one between you and you. And then in my professional career for the last 27 years, I have seen from 6-year-olds that I've coached. I mean, that's the youngest client I've had is a 6-year-old who had kind of temper tantrum problems to like millionaires who like have a yacht and they work on their yacht and they've got their budding enterprise company, whatever, many companies. And I notice patterns in how people talk. And I see the words that now I just know because I've just saw it enough. Plus just tons of research. I mean, I spent a whole year studying just from biographies and autobiographies and interviews. And I saw in that how they would respond when somebody would say, well, how did you get here? How did you achieve this? Or in the story of their downtrodden beginnings, I could hear that those words kept people down and those words are what got people out, catapulted them into greatness. So I started then noticing that I was like, I'm going to practice this. I'm going to employ being specific and deliberate about not using certain words and using these words. And it absolutely, the way I describe myself now, I'm like, I am built because I have these words and our words are our building blocks. Nothing can knock me down. I can have a bad day. I can have a rough season, but I am never down because I'm like, I know what words kind of keep me above the waterline and keep me going.
That is so super cool. So first thing I have to point out that is really probably not going to matter to anybody else here, but now I know part of why you and I connected so deeply. My major was also psychology and my minor was interpersonal communications. Shut the front door. I've never known anybody else who had that same combination coming out of college. High five, Chica. No wonder.
That is fantastic. I have never met that either. That is phenomenal.
That is so freaking cool because for me, it came down to I loved finding out how people thought. And then for me, the reason I went with the interpersonal communication piece was just because I was just taking all of the speech classes because I saw my parents giving talks in front of audiences. So I thought that's when you're a grown up, you just have to do that. Like, so I was taking all the classes to make sure I could get up in front of an audience. And then my mentor said, hey, if you take a couple more classes, you've got an interpersonal communication minor. I was like, sweet, this is fun. Let's do it. So love that, by the way. So in doing this, you've noticed the patterns then of words that hold people back. Now, are they words that they're using with other people that are holding them back or words that they're using internally, or is it a combination of both?
Oh, it's both. Because really, whatever you're doing inside is being projected and presented outside, period, 100%. So your internal thoughts. So yeah. And the thing is these words that I've kind of keyed into, they are the most common, mundane, under the radar, you'd never know this word has the power that it has. So it's not even like, and I don't even know, honestly, like what are good, big, powerful words? Because I don't think there are big, like, like some people think like courage, vulnerability, empathy, passion. They think like maybe those are the words that are powerful. No, they're not powerful. Those words actually are not powerful from what I've seen and what I live. It is the mundane, it's on automatic and you don't even know how, well, yes. So,
okay. So I'm sure at this point, the badass crew is going, what?
Can you just get to it?
What are those words? What are they? So I want to dig into, let's go through what those words are and then why they're so disempowering, what is it about that word? Because just knowing the word isn't enough to get people to stop using it. They have to know why it's causing the issue it's causing. So let's start with your first word, whether it's your favorite or least favorite. I don't know. You pick.
Yeah. And I will tell you, so I have 4 that I kind of travel with and I share, but I don't know that we'll get to all 4 because it can take me a whole hour in front of a group to just get through these 4 to do what you just asked. Don't just tell me the word. Help me understand why that word has the effect and the impact that it does. Ooh. So yeah, we'll see how many we can get in this time.
Sure.
But okay. So, and in fact, I'm going to let you choose. I'm going to tell you what the 4 words are. And then you can say, ooh, Laura, let's go with this one. I want to understand this one. Okay.
Oh, yes, please. All right, let's do that.
So the 4 words are how, problem, try, and hard.
Okay. The last 2 I'm good with. Like, I personally know why they're an issue. So let's go with the other 2 that I'm like, wait, what? That word is a problem?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So let's start with that one since it's the one that popped out of my mouth.
The word problem?
Yeah.
Okay. So here is, and I don't use the word problem personally. So let me tell you first how I first noticed this word.
Sure.
And then I noticed this word is a problem. Kidding. But I noticed like, oh, wow, that word really has a negative impact. So I went home. This is about when was this? This was like, 2005. So it's a while back. 2005, I believe I was probably pregnant with my first child and it was Christmas time. And I went home and so did my other sisters, the family, comes together and we all lived in different parts of the country. So we're all descending down to mom and dad's house for the 3 or 4 days of Christmas. And I'm in the kitchen doing my job. And I'm paring carrots or potatoes or whatever I'm doing. And my oldest sister, and my mom are right in the room next door, the dining room, they've set this beautiful Christmas dining room table. And we're having an extra bit of people this particular Christmas. Plus, we all have little kids now. So it's just a bigger group. And I'm just doing my own thing. But I hear my mom and my sister talking and they're like, and I kept hearing the word problem. Like my mom's like, yeah, but if we do that, then the problem is da 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 da. And if we put the silverware like that, and if we have 2 drinking glasses, then the problem there, and then, oh yeah, but if we put a chair there by the window, the problem is someone's going to hit the drink. And I just kept hearing the word problem. And because I'd already been coaching for, many, many years, and I live in a very different reality where no, that is not there's nothing there that's a problem. And if you identify something as a problem, your body immediately feels it because the body follows the mind. So, and nobody really welcomes problems. Nobody loves problems, and no one's signing up. Can I have more problems, please? So when you use the word problem, and you only use it if you think it. So you're actually thinking there's a problem. There's a problem here. And I just noticed the energy was dissipating. I noticed their tone of voice was changing. I noticed that the more they said it, there was a momentum on angst and stress and, oh, this isn't going to work. And so that was my first, that's the story of me first really noticing, like, look at that. This started as like, Merry Christmas, everybody. We're getting this day going. And then now we have a problem because why? Because the chair might be too close to the drapes. That is not a problem. But then to go deeper to what you said, well, then why is problem a problem word? So psychologically, and this is real now, subconscious and unconscious, the stuff we don't really tap into, right, as our conscious minds are talking to each other right now today. Right. And people who are listening are consciously listening to us. But we also have a subconscious mind and an unconscious mind, and we're not tapped in consciously to those. Unconsciously and subconsciously, when we talk about problem, right? So psychologically, a problem really is equivalent to loss. And loss, now think of the worst kind of loss. Right. Loss is loss. Loss is loss. You lose your keys, you lose your pet, you lose your home, you lose your money, you lose your job, you lose a loved one. Loss is loss. It doesn't matter what the subject is. Loss is felt by the body. And that is also a very disempowering, I'm kind of going into a whole state of being or consciousness. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So when we say problem, so now let's use something simple, like, this isn't simple, but like, let's say you, in the wintertime, your pipes get frozen and you wake up in the morning and there's water all over the kitchen floor. Now, some people would argue with me, well, Laura, that is a problem. That is a problem. And yes, they would believe it's a problem. And they're suffering loss of the money I saved for my kids' college now has to go to this. Or we were going to go on vacation or we were going to leave today and do something, but now we can't. We have the loss of that because we got to be home and address this. And so then they'll get a bunch of momentum, even if they're not using the word loss. This is what happens. And then if every single day, 3 things a day, they look at as a problem, look at the quality of their life. Look at what their reality mostly is.
Yeah.
And this is all unconscious and subconscious. So they feel, so that's, and then there's a whole host of things. I feel overwhelmed. I feel anxious. I feel stressed. I feel behind the 8 ball. I feel depleted. Does this all, are you resonating with this? Like, can you identify, like, wow, this does happen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So if somebody is sitting here going, okay, that word is an issue.
Yes, it's an issue.
What do I do instead?
That's the very right question. It's the very best next question. There should be no other question but that.
Right.
So here's the replacement. So you're really switching out diction. That's all you're doing.
Okay.
So diction is the words you use and how you use words. That's what diction is. And that's what a dictionary is. A dictionary is full of words and how to use them and what they mean. So we all have our own personal dictionary. So instead, it's so easy. Just make the decision. I am not going to use the word problem anymore. I won't identify things as problems. Now, I always tell people when I teach this, there's no rule that you can never use this. You're not wrong if you ever use the word problem. But what I just described is going to be a part of your experience if you use that word problem. And sometimes you just might flat out say, I want to use the word problem and I want to feel I'm in a hole. Fine, you can do that. So It's not you can't ever use this or you're in trouble. You're going to, a big black hole is going to suck you up and you're gone. You can use the word problem, but you might want to be deliberate and choosy about when you use that.
Yes.
So the replacement word, whether it's the Christmas dinner table, the frozen pipe that leaks, or any loss of keys or whatever. Instead, you would identify that situation, that moment as, in this moment, there is a lesson, a blessing, or a gift ready for me. That is what's available to me. So if we go back to Christmas, my mom and my sister could have, if they knew this and they operated with this, if I was standing there now this Christmas, I would be like, okay, so this is really cool. We have so many people now coming to our house. We've never had this many people coming for Christmas. It's so cool how big the family's getting. What a blessing.
Yes.
If it wasn't so I say it's always and this is just true about life, period. So this isn't just about the word problem. everything that comes to us, everything, every moment, there is a lesson there, there is a blessing there, or there is a gift there. And what I've learned about human beings, and you and your audience definitely will identify with this, we love to learn. That's why they're listening.
Yes.
So lessons are like, give it to me. Everybody wants a lesson. They like, so to look at everything as, well, what's the lesson here? Oh my God, how mighty you will build yourself when you look at everything as a lesson and not as a problem. A problem, I'll just say it for effect, it weakens you to look at things as a problem. It does. It weakens your state. It weakens even the structure of the reality that you are wanting to manifest and create by saying anything's a problem, because that really denotes loss. And all we're all trying to do is create, gain, build.
Yes. And I know, so anybody who is listening right now, who has been listening for a long period of time, knows that I've said this before. Life is happening for us, not to us. And so now what you just said backs that part up, which is everything is either here to provide us with a lesson, a blessing, or a gift. Right. And so if we can find that silver lining, or when you find that silver lining, not if, when you find that silver lining, that lesson, that blessing or the gift, it's going to shift your entire outlook on everything. Okay. So we got one of the 4 words taken care of. The other one that surprised me is how.
Yep. Worst. That is one of the most, that word. Now, it was useful for a period of time in the collective journey that human beings have been on. How really served its day. It served its time. We are evolving beyond how. And that is why to use how is not wise. It isn't smart, and it is not helpful or empowering. It is not.
Oh.
So here's how I discovered this.
Okay.
So back in the 80s, I've been around. Okay. So 80s was my years of like middle school and high school. Okay. So I started learning all about goals and goal setting, late 80s, and then definitely all through the 90s. And yes, back then they were teaching, here's how you set goals. Like people go to a workshop, and probably still exists today, how to set goals, right? Well, the first thing you have to do is identify what you want. What do you want? Oh, I want to have a boutique where I sell really cute little knickknacks and cards and magnets and cute socks and faces. And it'd be real feminine, and it'd be really cute and whatever. Okay. So you identify the what, great. That's great. And then the very second thing, this workshop, this expert, this person will tell you, the book will tell you, is now, what you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to make that happen? And then that big sail that they just blew a bunch of wind in to take me to this thing, right? They built the vision. I want to have this thing. Now, how are you going to do that? Out goes the wind from their sail because they don't know how. And the way that we, as a collective consciousness, how we think something should be done, we're coming from an very old mindset, a mind structure, a way of thinking that we've all been taught over this generations.
Yeah.
That there's one way. We've really taught there's one way to mind your manners. There's one way to be successful. There's one way to parent your kids. There's one way to have a healthy body. I mean, I'm talking way back, not now, because this is why how it doesn't work. Because once upon a time, this is how it was done. We'll tell you how it's done. You don't know, we'll tell you, right? So now today, when a person thinks, how am I going to do this? Cycle again, now go back to the unconscious and subconscious mind that you're not tapping into. In there, it actually, I would say the thinking, the consciousness is, I've got to find that how, like literally needle in a haystack.
Right.
So we immediately feel stressed because how am I going to find the how? How am I going to find that answer? That one singular way to make the $1 million, or to get the whole thing accomplished, or to drive business, or get to Greece, or whatever. There's got to be just one way. And that creates anxiety. It creates stress. It wastes our time because we go kind of almost in the opposite direction, because now we're looking for the how versus building the thing we just said we wanted to create. So we literally end up going away from it because we think I got to go find out how. That's my first goal, is how. And then I can get to my second goal. And then what you find is in the searching for the how, it distracts, it diverts, it can diminish your excitement and enthusiasm because, oh, this looks too hard. Oh, that's not me. Oh, I can't do that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does. Because what I see happening in the world of direct sales and network marketing is the fact that, well, that's not how we do it, right? And so a lot of people are getting shot down because they're willing to step outside their comfort zone and try something, but they're hearing from somebody else, well, that's not how it's done. That's not how we do it. That's, that in that case, I see it happen all the time, or they get stuck in the 17 different hows.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get confused. And again, a confused brain doesn't buy. And so they don't know which action to take. So they just don't.
Exactly. You end up just getting kind of twisted up, or you literally just kind of sink into a paralysis. You just don't do anything because you literally don't know how. And here's the fact about the conscious mind. The conscious mind, which you and I are using right now to have this conversation, it actually cannot perceive the how. It can't know. It literally can't know how something's going to be done. It can know how things have been done before, but it can't know how something, it literally just can't do that. Now, some people might hear this and go, well, I know how to bake brownies. I know how to throw a surprise birthday party. Yes, you know how to do it. You've had the experience. So that is, how that went is what you know. And you can repeat that. So again, I have to make this disclaimer. I'm not saying never, ever, ever utter the word how. There are many occasions where you will use the word how and you're legit to use it. If I have an Airbnb and I say, oh, Jenny, you want to stay at it? Okay, well, here's the thing. The lock is tricky. So here's how you're going to get in. You're going to have to get that key and jingle, jingle, jingle it like this and then like that. And then that's how you're going to get in. Fine. Right. We're appropriately using the word how. But if somebody comes to you or to me and says, oh, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a secondary business or whatever and serve these type of people and do it in this particular way. And somebody says, well, how are you going to do that? That actually, it will arrest. This is the thing. It will stop the momentum or the intuitive creative mind, because now the mind thinks, oh, how am I going to do that? Sense? Mm-hmm. And so here's the replacement. I'm going to give you the replacement right now, which is this. Start when you goal set. It's so much simpler now. You start with, well, what is it you want? Yes, very clearly describe, speak about what. I want this. And you describe it. The second thing is not go to, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? Which is what old goal setting really was. How much, when are you going to get done? How much? The second question is why? Why the boutique with the cute little knickknacks and magnets and whatever? Why the secondary business? Why do you want that? And a very popular kind of quote or phrase out there right now is the stronger the why, the higher you fly. But the way I say it is clarity is power. The more clear you are about what you want, not clear of how it's going to get done, the more clear of what it is you want, the more power you have. So the first is what? What is it? Identify what you want. Get as clear as you can about what you want. The second question is, why do you want that? When you answer that, the body follows the mind. When the mind is saying, here's why, because I want to pay for college and I want to be by water and I want to help people and I want to smile and I want to have plenty of time for this or whatever, that cranks up an energy inside the body, which is our emotions. Emotions are energy in motion. It literally fills our body with high octane, which then the third thing is, well, what are some ways you can achieve that? What are some ways you can create this little cute boutique store in Greece on the water or whatever? What are some ways? And here's what happens. Freedom. Well, one way is I could talk to my grandma and grandpa who have a trust fund who are putting some money aside for me and I could use that for investment. Another way is I have a friend who's got a sister and they were talking about doing something like this and I could talk to them and see if we could all collaborate. Another way is I could just move to Greece, spend that 3 months there and then just see if I don't find an opportunity there and buy. So much comes when you it's like double doors open. Not one tiny little door with a lock and you do not know where the key is. When you say, what are some ways, you will get a full list of ways.
Yes. And something, if you don't mind me adding to it, because I just saw this from a video on Mind Valley. So I don't know if you follow Mind Valley.
I'm aware of them. Yes.
Okay. So one of their trainers was doing like a little free mini training. And I was like, let's go check this out. And he was talking about one of the things that he works with his clients on doing is what you were just talking about, which is what are the different ways, right? But then what he talked about was specifically doing visualizations of going, okay, so we are currently sitting right here, right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to visualize myself down the path of that first way. What does it look like? How does it feel? What are the actions that are being taken along the way? Blah, blah, blah. And then you just kind of notice how the whole thing feels. And then you rewind yourself back to current place. And then you move down path number 2. Right. And I love this because it seems like it combines what you were already talking about, which is the clarity of your why and going with the emotional feeling of it, because then this lets you use your body almost as a tuning fork to identify the way that, that way feels like the one I can do. So you go down path 1, come back to the beginning, go down path 2, come back, go down path 3. But then what the addition I would say is what he said was, okay, now what is a way that I haven't conceived of yet? And then he said, it's so interesting because every time another idea pops in and you go down that path and you go, oh, that's an interesting path. Or go, oh, no, there's a reason why I hadn't considered that one. Nope, not, So, but I love that, so interesting the way the universe works and shows me that video right before I'm talking to you.
Isn't that her? I know. Isn't that amazing? That's right. Because it's working for you. That's exactly right.
Right. So, all right. So we're shifting away from using problem to lesson, blessing, gift. How is this happening? Or this is happening. This situation happened for me. What am I taking away from it? The lesson, the blessing, or the gift? And then in the world of visualization and goal setting, what do I want? Why do I want it? And what are the ways to get there?
Exactly.
Oh, y'all, that is so freaking powerful right then and there. Because already I'm sitting here going, oh, that explains why I've had some issues with some of my own certain goals. Because I was so focused on the how.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And okay. And then one of my previous guests is Mary Kay Duffy Kemper. The title of her episode was "It's Not in the How, It's in the Allow."
Right. Oh. That's right. Because that's it. Once you identify ways, then you can kind of step back and really that's a great word. So I consent. I allow any of these ways, because the thing is the only thing that would actually come out pen to paper when you are thinking, the Mind Valley guy, the Laura, her, when you identify, well, here's what you would only really put on that paper something that seems resonant to you.
Yeah.
Resonance and resonation is our emotional feelings to an idea. Like there's a resonance. There's a congruence that feels good to me. So you really, So one, you have a whole now, you've got so many options, and the human spirit loves options. It loves freedom. That's what I've also learned is bottom line, what everybody wants. When we want the $1 million, we want the 3 houses, we want the car, we want the relationship, we want the body, we want the whatever, what we actually all want in even having whatever physical item that we think is going to give us this, we all want freedom. That's what the soul wants. That's what the human soul, which is what we are. We actually want freedom. So when you say, how am I going to do this? You are not free. You have, and here, I have to say this because for those who might still be like, I'm just still not clicking on this, Laura. I always say to people, so I'm 50. I turned 55 yesterday. So I'm 55. You're however old you are. And here's the thing. I've been with me more than any other person on this planet Earth. Laura has been with Laura every single day, every single minute for this 55 years. So who would be the expert on Laura?
Laura.
Exactly. Not Jenny. You are not the expert. I am. My husband, my children, my mom and dad, they're not the expert because I've been inside my brain and I've been wherever I've gone, right? So I am the expert on Laura Burkey's life. I know her life. I know what she likes. I know what she doesn't. I know what she avoids. I know what she goes towards. Okay, I'm the expert. And even that being so, I'm the expert. I can't even tell myself or you how the rest of today will go.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that. I can tell you what I got planned. I can tell you what I would like to get done, but I can't tell you how it's actually going to go because I can't know that. Nobody can know how it's going to go. Yes, I know how to make brownies, but I don't know how those brownies will turn out.
Yes. Oh.
So it really is when you open up to, well, what are some ways I can think about this? What are other ways I can feel about this? What are ways I can achieve this? It literally is you turning the tap on and you're letting flow happen. And it's amazing because then, and I have to say this too, your tuning fork thing. If people who understand, not everybody knows how tuning forks, they may know what one is, but how they work. If you have a tuning fork over there and it's a C tuning fork, so you hit it and it vibrates to the note C, and I just hold a tuning fork here over here, and you got yours going, mine will start to vibrate with yours at C, at the note C or the frequency C. That's how, so like you said, like with the guy who said, go down that path, if you go down and find these different ways and visualize, well, what's this path like? Or what's this way like? I would say I'd add on to this guy's work, which is whichever one you feel the highest excitement for, go there now. Green light, thumb up, go there. So yes, so that's the beauty of the ways is you will notice which ones really light you up like a Christmas tree. That's a good sign. Or the ones that kind of like you feel resistance or a little depletion. Okay, it is a way, but probably not the way for me.
Yeah.
Because energy comes from your highest excitement, your enthusiasm.
Seriously. And it's so interesting. I'm so glad I'm getting this at 46, not like way later. Because this is it. I mean, for me, the knowledge of, okay, what are the things I've been saying that have possibly been holding me back? Because yes, I use the words how and problem up until recently. But I'm more than happy to shift and change and replace those words. And so there were two more words. We will have to save those for another time. And or here's what's awesome. So Badass Crew, Laura also does that as a training, workshop, webinar, whatever it is that you would like to do this with. So, she's able to curate and create this for you and your team to go through and help you with this. So, Laura, if people are interested in bringing you on to have this conversation with their whole team and go over all four of those words and their replacements and why not to use them and what to use instead, how can they get a hold of you? Appropriate use of the word how.
Yeah, that is that. Yep, that works. And before I say how to get a hold of me, which is a perfect way to use it, and also, so I will say this. So I have these four words of they're game changers. You're the construct of the reality you live in and the experience you have. That's how I talk. That's how I say it. Instead of your life, it's the reality you're living in and the experience you're having. These four words will absolutely change it. It will change what that experience is for the better, for the stronger. And in fact, I say the mightier. Having these four words out of my diction, and it has made me mighty. I mean, like I literally say, I am so built that no windstorm can knock me down. No life event can knock me down, because while I can get hit and I can get dinged and I have my hard times, and I'm not some, like unaffected human being, because I know these words and other words, but I know to go to them. I know either don't use these, or are you using these and this is why you're here? Or, because here's the thing I'm going to add, I have a whole growing library of words, mundane, normal, everyday words. And so these are just the four words I kind of bring out to the group, to the world, like, hey, let me just tell you, because they're the easy ones and they're the ones people use every day. Dozens of times. But I also have, words that like people are already using. You've already used them, and easily within the last 3 days, you've used these words, whether just in your thinking or speaking, mostly in your thinking, that these words are so responsible for every success you've ever had. And I mean, every single really powerful success that you will just feel like chest out, big smile, and like real proud. like, yeah, I did it. Well, I know what words got you there because you are using them, but I want people to understand, like, so they don't think every time, like, now how am I going to make a success happen this time? It's like, oh, let me help you identify the way you're speaking to yourself when you've made those big successes, and just keep doing that and basically activate the word in your life. So I have a whole growing library of words, not just these 4. And the way to get a hold of me is precisionspeaks@gmail.com.
Okay. So precisionspeaks@gmail.com. And of course, Badass Crew, you know that you can find that direct link in the show notes right below Laura's gorgeous picture that she's provided for us to share with you here on the show notes. Now, if this happens to be the very first time that you've ever listened to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast and you're like, show notes, what are those? How do I find that? Grab your phone, as long as you're not driving. Click on today's episode, scroll beneath Laura's picture, and you'll see all these wonderful notes, the big takeaways, what did we discuss, and the direct link to her email. So you don't even have to worry about, am I spelling it right? Is it the right? Just click the link, and then in the subject line, make sure you put Badass Podcast. So she knows that you came from the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast. You don't have to put the whole thing, just Badass Podcast. That's enough. So Laura, this is amazing. I know we are absolutely going to have you back to talk more about this because I am all about the words. I mean, I love using, as I call them, $20 words. They're so fun to say and all of that. But I would love to have you back if you're open to it.
I would love to come back. So yes.
Absolutely. All right. And Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.